Again, I think one of the things, to your point, not only not taking him seriously, but it feels like a certain kind of indifference, if you will. And it's riling up a lot of people. A lot of people in this country are very angry about this. You don't have to panic, per se, but I remember when George Bush was reading a book, a children's book, to a bunch of kids, and he didn't bolt out of that room. Instead, he kind of finished, walked out calmly. He took a lot of heat for that. And now we have the president who seems to be almost indifferent toward these kind of things.
And that's the message that seems to me he's projecting. And what we've just had here was an act of war against a NATO ally. It would not be inappropriate to go to Brussels for a NATO meeting and summon the alliance to do something in defense not only of Belgium but all the rest of us. We're targeted by these same people also, of course.
Yeah, you know, I think it's interesting too, John Kerry, with Russia, who's more or less just claimed victory in Syria. But I think we all know, wink, wink, that they weren't killing mostly ISIS. It was actually fighters, rebels, who we put money into, and we trained. So it just feels like one blunder after another.
The Russians in Syria are recruiting for ISIS. The Russians in Syria are giving reasonable Syrians not much of a choice. Either they can go with Assad, who kills Sunnis, or they can go with ISIS, which at least is a Sunni organization. So what the Russians are doing in Syria is polarizing the situation, and that helps ISIS, I'm afraid.
Ambassador, before I let you go, Salah Abdeslam, we're hearing that they were planning multiple shooting and suicide bombing attacks in Brussels, assault rifles, riot guns, that this is going to happen at any moment. What can be done now, particularly in Europe? Well, the danger's already embedded, it's in place. Are they in a position where they can even fight this effectively?
Look, I've heard a lot of questions about whether they're overstretched, whether they don't have the capacity to deal with it. I've also heard some suggestions that some of what they did in these predominantly Muslim neighborhoods actually alienated the population. Again, it's a tricky problem. The people you need most on your side are, in fact, the Muslims in your own country, and, in fact, Muslims around the world. We're only going to take on this problem, I think, if Muslims recognize it as their problem also and work to help. So but on the other hand, I also think somebody's going to have to answer questions about what did this fellow they captured know, and when did he know it, and what did they do to get the information from him.
Ambassador Wolfowitz, thank you very much. Really appreciate your thoughtful comments.
Nice to be with you. Thanks, Charles.